Robert Saleh, according to Diana Rossini and Mike Silver, is returning as the 49ers defensive coordinator. Sage, it was kind of getting held up because a lot of people thought that he was going to go take that Jacksonville Jaguars job, but then all hell broke loose.
Yeah, so it seems like he didn't want to go there, or not him. So it seems like Liam Coen, really wanted the job. He didn't want to work with Balky. So
Dude,
he
so
declined.
much drama right here. This is probably the biggest this league moment in the NFL all season. I swear to God.
So they asked him for a second interview. He declines it, says he's going to stay with Tampa. They fire Balky yesterday morning. And then today he accepts a second interview. Saleh realizes he's probably done there. So he said he's going to go talk to the Niners instead, right? So he cancels his interview, and now he's interviewing a second time with the Niners. Seems like that's pretty much wrapped up in a bow.
But Sage, the even crazier part about that is that basically while he was talking with Jacksonville the first time, while Trent Baalke was there, Tampa Bay wanted him bad. They were telling him on the side, they're like, we'll make you the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league, even higher than Ben Johnson, right? So they send him over the contract to make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. Then he finds out that Trent Baalke gets fired. Tampa Bay doesn't hear from him for like 24 hours. They can't find him. They don't know where he's at, not responding to any of their calls. Then they find out via Adam Schefter that he's in Jacksonville, locking up the contract to become the Jaguars head coach. So seems like Trevor Lawrence has got his guy, man. Dirty business.
It's a dirty business. No, it seems like Mac Jones got his guy. I don't know about Trevor, but
you think Mac Jones is a starter now over there?
Nah, I'm kidding. I mean, you look at someone like Josh, right? Like someone, in the same system, constantly going through offensive coordinators, he could adapt. Someone like Trevor, he's just been thrown into the garbage. He has that rotating door, but he can't overcome it. This is kind of his last chance. We saw what he was. He's kind of, going backwards. They gave him the money, but he hasn't really played up to the contract. This is it, right? Like, we know what Liam Coen's capable of. He did it with Baker. He put together a really good offense, even when guys were going down. So I think this is kind of like the last straw with Trevor. Like, I really do. I always said, like, I'd take a chance on him as a Niner fan. If he flames out with BTJ, with that offensive mind, I really don't know. Like, I think it might be time to, like, officially call him a bust.
I mean, his Jaguars career was on life support already, I thought. I mean, he's ran through how many coaches? What is this, 2 or 3 coaches?
This is number 2, yeah.
Yeah, and they signed him to that big deal a couple years ago. Either he's not been on the field or he's been playing like shit the entire time since he signed that deal. So, yeah, right now I think you have to say that Trevor Lawrence is a bust, but he's got Liam Coen. But like you were getting to, Sage, now that Liam Coen is not going to be the Jaguar, or that he's going to be the Jaguars head coach, that took Robert Saleh out of the entire argument. And basically right away, they said that, like I said, Mike Silver reported that Saleh is going to be coming back to be the defensive coordinator for the 49ers. So
he did include, though, if he doesn't take a head coaching job, but it doesn't seem likely he's going to get one anywhere
What other
else.
jobs? What is it? Raiders?
I think it seems like the Saints are pretty much married to Joe Brady. So I don't think that one's happening. Dude, the Raiders one's weird. He's like 20-1 to land with the Raiders. I think the Raiders are looking at Dion and
no, they're not. Are they really? The Raiders are going to go for Dion?
I think it's a Brady thing, to be honest. Like, Brady's been mentoring Shador. They have like a good enough pick. I don't get it. Who else is there? I mean, the Cowboys, God knows who's going to take that one. I mean, I could honestly see it just ending up being Belichick. Like, Belichick pulling that slime.
Belichick's not going to do that, man. He's already said. So Jordan Hudson, his girlfriend, is like, 23-year-old girlfriend, said that they're locked in North Carolina. So, Sage, I don't think that's happening. I think Belichick's there to stay in Chapel Hill. But
so, yeah, I'm running out of options, so it seems like it's like imminent, like it's going to happen. I mean, the Niners are going to welcome him back with open arms. You see what one bad hire can do to your franchise. You're in a corner, obviously. You don't have a direction to go. You go with a guy like Nick Sorensen, screws you up for an entire year. Like, literally screws up the defense for an entire year. You can't overcome it. Bring back someone. He's going to run your system. The players love him. The fans love him. I mean, the coaching staff loves him. Kyle trusts him. He's a sideline dog. He brings that energy. So it could have been a lot worse. And I don't think it could have been much better. So as an Irish fan, this is a huge win. It's an insanely great offseason that they got going on. The momentum is building. You get Sorensen out of there. You get Schneider out of there, right? Jake Moody's about to be gone. And now you bring back a guy like Saleh. So all that's left is to sign some free agents, and you really got it going.
I mean, Sage, I don't think anybody's more connected to the 49ers than Mike Silver. And I think he posted a tweet. It said, basically, all systems go. And it was just him, a photo of him with Robert Saleh when he was the defensive coordinator. So he's back. Robert Saleh is going to be back. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Sage. I mean, we've seen him be a successful defensive coordinator for the 49ers. He runs that wide 9 system. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's got to be hard as a rock that he's going to keep that wide 9. You know that he's happy with that. But so I'm looking at the defensive ranks right now.
Would you have been interested in Pete Carroll?
That was
I
interesting.
I
did not know why that was coming up with Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Anyways, go for it. What were you going to read?
No, but so Sage, you brought it up. What one bad hire could do to an organization. So, as we all know, the 49ers hired Nick Sorensen last year. Sage, they were the 29th ranked defense when it comes to points per game. And Robert Saleh, 4 years, 25th in 2017, 2018, 28th, 2019, 7th, 2020, 17th. I think that what we're all going to remember with Robert Saleh is that 2019 defense where the 49ers went 13-3, went to the Super Bowl. They had that great D-line. They had young guys like Fred Warner. They had Richard Sherman, who I think that was his first year on the 49ers coming over from the Seahawks. So he did have a legit defense that year, Sage. And I am excited. But what I will say is that we've seen Robert Saleh be a bad head coach. I've seen him have bad defenses on the 49ers. And I think that it's more a personnel issue. So I'm excited that we actually have somebody in there who has experience being a defensive coordinator, unlike Nick Sorensen. I always liked that Robert Saleh ran a nice system.
I don't want to be a hater.
He had a good coaching staff and everything. Like you said, he brought the energy on the sidelines, but I just don't think it's I don't think it's a one thing fix here with the 49ers defense. They still got so much more shit that they have to do.
He was a bad head coach. I'm not going to say he wasn't a bad head coach.
Terrible.
He was terrible with like the emotion aspect, the time management, putting together and leading the roster. I get that. But his defense, when he was there, was always overperforming. You saw what they were as soon as he left. They were nothing. But even last year, right? Like everyone was saying, like, if Rodgers played, man, they had a top 10 defense, whatever it was. 2 years ago, they won 7 games with Zach Wilson, who was a complete bust. No real offense at all. They got a guy like Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, like, okay, with that defense, right, and Aaron Rodgers, they can him early. The defense just falls ass backwards. The offense can't hold it up enough. So you kind of see, like, he was kind of holding that team together when they had nothing on offense. The defense performed well. Like, they'd hold guys like Josh Allen to low games. Like, there was that game last year where they played Mahomes on Thursday Night Football where he slid at the 5-yard line and took a bow. Like, they held him to 12 points. They overperformed a lot. You didn't see that this year as soon as he left. So if there is one bright spot about his tenure, it's that the defense did always overperform, and it seemed like the guys loved him.
So do we know if he was calling plays, though? Because sometimes
he had to be. It went so bad.
No, but think about it. So Jeff Ulbrich was the defensive coordinator. Then he became the head coach. Did Jeff Ulbrich just lose play calling duties, and that's what messed up the defense? I'm just being the devil's advocate here because I honestly don't know.
You could say that, but I don't think so. I mean, it's like the people, and Chase, you're going to agree with me here. It's the people who'd say it's Eric Bieniemy's offense. Like when he was with the Chiefs.
That's a good point. That's a good point, yeah.
It was never Eric Bieniemy's offense. People just wanted to make it a thing to get a sexy new name out there. It's always Andy Reid's offense. It was always Robert Saleh's offense. You see it, what's going on in Miami. It was never Mike McDaniels calling up the plays. It was always a Kyle Shanahan thing. There's a reason his coaches, other than D'Amico, are flaming out everywhere. It's always the guy at the top.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is good news for the 49ers, but I'm just looking at that. I'm looking at that interior D-line, Sage, and Robert Saleh is known as a wide 9 guy. He doesn't blitz either. So everybody who was pissed off about Nick Sorensen and how he didn't make any adjustments, didn't send any blitzes, you're not going to get that with Robert Saleh. So if we're rolling out Jordan Elliott and fucking Malik Collins again at interior D-line, I don't know what we're going to be able to do here. Sage, they were trying to get the Brandon Staley train rolling there for a second there. Did you see that all over Twitter?
No.
So it was really quick.
To bring him back? Oh, yeah. Oh, Brandon, I was thinking Sorensen.
So they were trying to prop him up because I think they were thinking that Saleh was going to get that Jaguars job. The past couple of days, you've been seeing a lot of posts coming out. Like I said, from Mike Silver, somebody who's very connected to the 49ers front office. He showed like a interview from Diamador Lenore in July where he said, oh, yeah, Brandon Staley's a genius. It's like having Kyle on defense. So he was doing that, and they're just bringing up a couple other things about how Brandon Staley was so impactful with that Rams defense that won the Super Bowl. So if Robert Saleh, if this thing didn't fall through where Liam Coen ended up getting the Jacksonville Jaguars job, it seemed like Brandon Staley was going to be the option, and that would have been a fucking train wreck.
That's what I mean. Like, okay, I don't want to. I'm going to knock on wood because obviously it's not official yet, but that was option B. It was Pete Carroll or that, right? So I'm just saying, like, it's never perfect, but it could always be worse. You saw it as in always worse. Look at the last year. Look at this past year. That's when I mean it could always be worse. So be happy. You got a guy who's proven he could have a top 5 defense. The guys love, the team loves, and the fans love. So I'm just glad to have him back. What does scare me is he did get some consideration as a head coach. And I just want to have what the Chiefs have, man. I just want to have a defensive coordinator who flamed out as a head coach that no one's ever going to want to poach because they know he sucks as a head coach. Hopefully that never happens. Teams are going to look, to the young, sexy offensive minds. Stay away from a guy like Robert Saleh. He can stay with the Niners for forever. Because I just think you got to give him time, man. Like, let him grow with that defense. Hired him in 2017. By 2019, he had a top 5 defense. So I'm happy with it. I really am happy with it.
And I mean, you had the big dogs on the defense like Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. They haven't been shy. Like Steve Wilkes, when he was struggling, when he was calling defensive plays from the booth, they said shit in the press. They said, we're used to a guy, honestly, like Robert Saleh, like D'Amico Ryans, a guy who gets fired up on the sidelines. So you're going to get that back. And I think that part of it is that he's very comfortable with Kyle Shanahan. So Kyle Shanahan likes that. He runs his own system. And everybody in that locker room is going to respect him.
So that's the big thing, right? Like, I genuinely don't think, like, you never saw a guy go to war for Sorensen. He had his feet to the fire. Like, you saw everyone went after him. You never saw one guy speak up for him. One guy, like how Lamar had Mark Andrews back. No one had Nick Sorensen's back. He didn't even have his own back. He never knew what to say. He said, It was a communication error. It was a communication error. Dude didn't know what he was talking about. Everyone was done with him. I mean, that was the fastest hire or the fastest fire of the offseason. Dude was gone by Monday.
Brian Schneider was
by an hour.
But everybody knew. I mean, literally right after the Cardinals game, we said, is this guy getting fired right now? Do we let him take like a 5-day vacation? And
they let him have
the news because he's gone.
Yeah. So, I mean, him, Chris Boyd, like there were some guys that were just on the offseason, like fastest drop list.
Just like right to Cancun or Galveston. So,
like
I said, man. I mean, this is good news. Does it automatically fix the 49ers defense? People are going to say that. I don't think it does, but the Nick Sorensen project was a nightmare. We had a lot of fears coming into the season. We said, this guy has no experience as a defensive coordinator. His entire history is in the special teams and ball security drills, maybe coaching the secondary up a little bit. So to get a guy who's been a proven great defensive coordinator like Robert Saleh, a guy with experience on the 49ers, you got to love that. But please, I mean, they need to hit free agency hard. They need to hit the draft hard. They need to build up that D-line stage because I don't care if you get Bill Belichick and Buddy Ryan side by side to coach that fucking defense. It won't work if you don't fix up that D-line next to Nick Bosa, in my opinion.